What if the very thing keeping you broke is the safety net you refuse to cut? Most people fail not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they always keep a plan B, an escape hatch for when things get too hard. And every time you give yourself an out, you train your brain to quit before the breakthrough. You've done this before. You had a dream, a goal, a vision. But instead of going all in, you built a backup plan. If this doesn't work, I'll go back to the old job. If I fail, at least I'll still have something safe to fall on. And do you know what happened? You never went all the way. You never pushed yourself to the edge where greatness is born. That's the raw truth. Wealth is not built with options. It's built with discipline, and the decision that plan A must work, because there is no plan B. The psychology of escape hatches. Here's the paradox: you think your backup plan makes you safe, but it's the very thing holding you back. Why? Because your mind is always scanning for escape. The second it gets uncomfortable, the second you hit resistance, your brain whispers, "We don't need this. We can just go back." That voice has killed more dreams than failure ever could. Because failure teaches. Failure shapes. Failure refines. But quitting before you even go all in? That leaves nothing behind. No lessons. No resilience. No growth. And this is why the majority stay average. They've mastered the art of hedging. They've mastered the illusion of "I tried." But trying is not doing. Trying with an escape route is nothing more than preparing for defeat. The 20% who burn the boats. History remembers those who cut the rope, burned the boats, and left no way back. Why? Because necessity sharpens discipline. Think about it: when you have no other option, what do? You fight. You focus. You stay up later, push harder, think sharper. You summon energy you didn't even know existed. That's what no plan B creates. Napoleon Hill understood this. He said, "A quitter never wins, and a winner never quits." And you can't truly embrace that until you remove every exit door. The moment you decide, "This is it. I either succeed or I succeed." Failure is just a step on the way, not the end. That's the moment discipline takes root. Your micro moments of betrayal. Here's the part you don't want to admit: you betray yourself in micro moments. You say you'll wake up early, but you set a second alarm just in case. You plan to save money, but you keep the credit card nearby just in case. You commit to building your side hustle, but you keep scrolling job listings just in case. Each just in case is a vote for Plan B. And each vote weakens Plan A. What you call responsible planning is often just hidden fear. Fear of going all in. Fear of losing face. Fear of discomfort. But here's the truth: discipline doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in corners, in edges, in the pressure of no escape. The formula to eliminate Plan B thinking. You don't need a miracle. You need a system that removes options. Step 1: Public commitment. Announce what you're doing to people who will hold you accountable. When others know, the cost of quitting rises. Step 2: Remove the backup. Delete the escape hatches. Cancel the extra subscriptions. Remove the fallback safety nets that keep you soft. Step 3: Replace with identity anchors. Say this every day: "I am the kind of person who follows through because I have no other choice." When your brain starts to drift back to safety, identity pulls you forward. Macro-micro shift. At the macro level, no Plan B means you are aligning your life with one vision. No distractions. No divided loyalties. At the micro level, it means training yourself to take the hard action now instead of later. You practice this in the smallest choices: finish the rep, close the app, take the call, write the page. The more you condition yourself to act without an out, the stronger the identity becomes. The wealth discipline. Wealth is not an accident. It's the byproduct of a mind that no longer negotiates with excuses. Every dollar accumulated, every opportunity seized, every door opened comes from the root discipline of refusing to run backward. And the moment you lock in the belief, I don't need a plan B because plan A is non-negotiable, you step into a rare group. The group that pushes beyond survival into abundance. You say you want success, but you've been living like failure is still an option. That's the contradiction that keeps you stuck. You dream of wealth, yet you budget for mediocrity. You speak of freedom, yet you keep chains hidden in the back of your pocket. The truth is simple, as long as you keep plan B alive, plan A will never get your full strength. Why options dilute focus? Focus is a finite resource. Every decision you make pulls from the same reservoir. If you're splitting energy between this must work and, but if not, I'll fall back, you're already sabotaging yourself. Think about it, how sharp is a blade if it's constantly divided between two targets? Not sharp at all. Wealth requires sharpness. Laser focus. A mind that refuses to bend, break, or scatter. But plan B is like rust on steel, it slowly eats away at your edge until all that's left is dull intention. Micro examples of split energy. You start a business but still keep scrolling job listings. You commit to writing daily but secretly tell yourself it's fine if you skip a week. You declare financial independence but keep a credit card ready for emergencies that are really just convenience. These actions look harmless. But each one sends a signal to your subconscious, we're not really serious. And here's the brutal truth, your subconscious always listens. Napoleon Hill's principle of definiteness. Napoleon Hill emphasized one quality above all others, definiteness of purpose. He wrote, "Success requires no explanations. Failure permits no alibis." What does that mean? It means once you decide, excuses die. Once you fix your eyes on one purpose, you shut every other door. You don't explain. You don't justify. You don't backtrack. Definiteness creates energy. It makes your actions clean, unbroken, and powerful. Without it, you drift. With it, you dominate. The plan B poison. Plan B doesn't just dilute energy, it poisons identity. Because every time you hesitate, your brain records the hesitation. Every time you leave the back door open, you reinforce cowardice instead of courage. And courage is what builds wealth. Not just financial courage, but the courage to say, I refuse to live small. I refuse to settle. I refuse to let safety nets strangle my destiny. If you don't kill Plan B will kill you, slowly, silently, and politely. How to starve Plan B. You don't just cut Plan B once. You starve it daily. Here's how. 1. Identify the backup behaviors. Write down where you're keeping safety nets. Be brutally honest. Where do you hesitate? Where do you secretly prepare to fail? 2. Replace with discipline anchors. Swap every escape with an action that reinforces Plan A. Example, instead of saving time for scrolling, invest that time in learning a skill that advances your vision. 3. Raise the stakes publicly. Tell people what you're doing. Put yourself in situations where backing out is visible and costly. Shame is painful, but it's a powerful motivator. 4. Visualize the loss. Every morning, visualize what happens if you don't go all in. Feel the regret. Taste the bitterness of wasted years. Then use that pain as fuel. Macro mindset shift. Stop telling yourself, I'll try until something works. Start declaring, I will make this work because nothing else exists. That shift alone can change your physiology. Your shoulders rise. Your breathing deepens. Your nervous system responds differently when it knows there is no retreat. At the macro level, this eliminates hesitation. At the micro level, it transforms daily actions into declarations of identity. Formula for wealth discipline. Wealth isn't magic. It's math plus mindset plus motion. And here's the formula. No options equals energy concentrated. Energy concentrated equals discipline compounded. Discipline compounded equals wealth generated. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's removing options, multiplying focus, compounding discipline. The real secret of no plan B. It's not about being reckless. It's about being relentless. You're not cutting safety nets to impress anyone. You're cutting them because they've been strangling you. You're done living halfway. You're done rehearsing excuses. You're done pretending mediocrity is acceptable. From this moment forward, you don't need more options. You need one path, walked with absolute certainty, powered by the discipline that builds wealth. Most people imagine wealth is created in one massive decision. One big breakthrough. One lucky strike. But that's a lie. Wealth isn't made in the boardroom or on the stage. It's made in the invisible choices you repeat every single day. It's built in whether you choose the easy excuse or the hard discipline in the smallest moments. The micro moments that make or break you. Think about your last 24 hours. How many times did you promise to start but let yourself slide just this once? Choose scrolling instead of learning? Delay action because tomorrow is better? Each of these choices looks harmless. But in reality, they are votes. Votes for Plan A or votes for Plan B. And here's the brutal truth, you don't just practice discipline when it's convenient. You practice it in every micro decision. The question isn't, will I go all in someday? The question is, am I going all in right now, in this tiny decision? The 80% excuse pattern. The majority lose not in grand failures, but in daily excuses. They say, I'll double down after this season. I'm too busy right now. It's not the perfect time. They don't realize that these aren't temporary delays, they're identity statements. Every excuse tells the subconscious, I don't really mean it. That's how discipline dies, one micro betrayal at a time. The 20% wealth builders. The few who rise to wealth do something radically different. They discipline the small before the big. They finish the page before they finish the book. They save the dollar before they build the fortune. They honor today's block of time before they imagine next year's empire. It's not glamorous. It's not dramatic. But it's powerful. Because once you train yourself to conquer excuses in the small, you've already conquered them in the large. Napoleon Hill's reminder. Napoleon Hill wrote, if you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way. This is not about lowering your ambition. It's about raising your discipline. The small done with discipline leads to the great done with certainty. The person who cannot control an hour will never control a year. The person who cannot manage $10 will never master 10,000. The person who cannot close one excuse will never close the gap to wealth. The micro-discipline formula. Here's how you lock this in. 1. Shrink the excuse window. When you feel hesitation, cut the delay from minutes to seconds. Count down from 5 and act. Don't let the thought spiral grow. 2. Anchor the identity. Say, I am the kind of person who acts in small moments as if they were big. Repeat this daily until your brain sees no difference between micro and macro. 3. Track the micro wins. Log one discipline choice per day. Not the outcome, the action. Build a wall of proof that you are consistent even in the small. From excuse to execution. Imagine two paths. On one, you tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. You let the excuse win today. That path compounds into years wasted, wealth never built, and dreams that rot in silence. On the other, you close the excuse and execute now. Not perfectly. Not fully. Just enough to prove to yourself that Plan A is alive and Plan B is dead. That path compounds into identity, into trust, into wealth that no one can take. The real wealth secret. The secret isn't that the rich know something mystical. The secret is that they stopped excusing themselves in the small. They know every excuse is a crack in the wall. And they refuse to let those cracks grow. They move when others pause. They act when others stall. They discipline themselves in the decision no one sees, because they know those are the decisions that build everything. And so can you. If you want wealth, you cannot keep living in a structure built for survival. Survival is reactive. Discipline is proactive. Survival waits for problems to appear before responding. Discipline designs the day so problems never get the chance to dominate. And that's the reason the majority stay stuck. They leave their daily structure up to chance. But chance never creates wealth. Structure does. Why your day is the real battleground. Look closely at how your hours unfold. Do you wake up and dive into distractions? Do you start with reaction instead of intention? Do you allow everyone else's urgency to dictate your priorities? If yes, then you've already lost the day before it even begins. Because the day is the unit of wealth. Every fortune was built one day at a time. And if you can't command a day, how will you ever command a future? The 80% drift through days. Most people drift. They wake up late. They check messages before checking themselves. They drown in busyness but starve in progress. They confuse motion with momentum. They confuse noise with necessity. And by the time the day is done, they've spent energy but built nothing. That's not discipline. That's distraction. And distraction is poverty in disguise. The 20% structure for wealth. The minority, the 20% who break free, don't leave their day unguarded. They structure it like a fortress. Their mornings begin with clarity, not chaos. Their work blocks are intentional, not accidental. Their evenings are reflections, not escapes. They build a rhythm that supports wealth instead of sabotaging it. And once rhythm is in place, discipline stops being a fight. It becomes a flow. Napoleon Hill's law of cosmic habit force. Hill described something profound. Habit is the foundation upon which all success is built. Habit doesn't just repeat actions. It repeats identity. And identity compounds into destiny. When you structure discipline into your habits, you no longer ask, "Will I succeed?" You say, "I am succeeding because my structure makes success inevitable." The wealth discipline structure. Here's how you rewrite your day. 1. Start with one sacred hour. No distractions. No plan B. This block belongs to your highest vision. Guard it like treasure. 2. Build non-negotiable anchors. Pick 2 or 3 actions that you do every day, no matter what. These become the backbone of your discipline. 3. Create friction for excuses. Make quitting harder than continuing. Delete the easy escape routes. Raise the cost of inaction. 4. End with proof. Every evening, log the actions you honored. Not the results, the proof. Over time, this becomes your personal wealth diary. From discipline to design. At first, this feels rigid. It feels like you're boxing yourself in. But that's only because you've been living in chaos disguised as freedom. True freedom doesn't come from more options. It comes from having the discipline to choose once and live by that choice daily. That's why the wealthy look calm while the world panics. They're not improvising. They're executing a structure. The wealth equation. Structure plus discipline equals predictable wealth. Discipline without structure is exhausting. Structure without discipline is empty. But when you merge the two, you get momentum that compounds. And momentum, once established, is nearly impossible to stop. Your new identity, designer of discipline. From today, you are no longer the person who reacts. You are the person who designs. Designs the morning. Designs the day. Designs the future. This is not about control. It's about creation. You are not waiting for wealth. You are designing it into existence. Anyone can be disciplined when life is easy. Anyone can keep promises when energy is high, distractions are low, and the path looks smooth. But wealth is not created in those easy moments. It's created in the storm. The storm is when clients cancel. When money runs tight. When fatigue whispers that you've done enough. The storm is when your old self, the one who always reached for plan B, tries to come back. And this is the test: do you still choose discipline when pressure hits? The 80% collapse under pressure. The majority fold in the storm. They excuse missed days as self-care. They use stress as permission to retreat. They confuse difficulty with impossibility. Their words sound reasonable: this isn't sustainable. I need to protect myself. It's not the right time. But underneath, it's the same pattern: plan B thinking. An escape disguised as logic. That's why they never break through. They never learn that pressure is not punishment, it's the furnace where discipline is forged. The 20% grow stronger in the storm. The few who rise don't wait for easy seasons. They use the storm to sharpen their edge. When fatigue hits, they double down on routines. When stress spikes, they lean into structure. When circumstances scream quit, they whisper back, watch me continue. This is the identity you are building, not the fair-weather doer, but the storm season warrior. Because wealth doesn't come to those who avoid pressure. It comes to those who master it. Napoleon Hill on persistence. Hill wrote, "Victory is always possible for the person who refuses to stop fighting." Notice the word, refuses. Not when it's convenient. Not when it feels good. Not when everyone believes in me. Refuses. Full stop. That's what separates the disciplined from the defeated. The no excuse pressure protocol. Here's how you maintain discipline when everything in you wants to quit. 1. Shrink the focus. Don't try to conquer the whole mountain. Just take the next step. The brain can handle one more, even when it resists all. 2. Anchor with identity. Say, I am the person who continues, especially under pressure. Speak it aloud. The voice of identity is stronger than the voice of fear. 3. Use pressure as proof. Log every hard day victory. Write it down: I didn't want to, but I did anyway. Over time, this log becomes your arsenal of evidence. The wealth discipline under fire. Wealth is not about money first, it's about resilience first. Because money flows to the person who cannot be broken by pressure. Every storm you survive with discipline is a wealth deposit. Invisible at first, but compounding quietly. When the easy seasons return, you explode forward because you've built muscles in the storm that no one else has. From excuse to evidence. The next time you feel pressure, you have two options. Call it a reason to stop. Call it an opportunity to prove. Choose proof. Every single time. Because each proof is another vote for Plan A, another nail in Plan B's coffin, another confirmation that wealth isn't optional anymore, it's inevitable. Excuses are the most expensive currency you will ever spend. Every time you pay with an excuse, you buy failure. And here's the problem: you've been taught to respect your excuses. You've been told they're logical, valid, even compassionate. But compassion without accountability is destruction. If you want wealth, you must stop negotiating with excuses and start killing them on sight. The 80% worship their excuses. Most people have built an altar to their excuses. I'm tired. I don't have time. I don't have the right resources. I'll start when I feel more ready. They repeat these words so often they begin to sound like truth. But excuses are not truth. They are lies wrapped in comfort. And every time they repeat them, they hardwire quitting into their identity. The 20% turn excuses into execution. The few who win don't wait for perfect conditions. They act in imperfect ones. They work tired. They move without enough time. They build with limited resources. They start before they feel ready. And because of that, they develop a muscle most people never touch: the ability to move without permission. That's the difference between poverty and wealth, between average and extraordinary. Napoleon Hill's warning. Hill wrote, "The man who cannot control himself can never control others." Excuses are self-betrayal. Every time you let them win, you prove you cannot control yourself. But when you kill them, when you rise above them, you gain the one power that cannot be bought, self-mastery. And wealth is always a reflection of self-mastery. The Excuse Elimination Protocol. Here's how you rewire your mind to destroy excuses before they destroy you. 1. Catch the excuse immediately. When the thought arises, "I don't have time," say out loud, "That's an excuse. And excuses don't rule me." Naming it breaks its spell. 2. Replace with a micro-action. Excuses thrive in stillness. Kill them with motion. Too tired? Do 5 minutes. Too busy? Do one small step. Motion kills lies. 3. Keep an excuse journal. Write down every excuse you hear yourself saying. Then next to it, write what you did instead. Over time, this log becomes proof that you are not ruled by weakness. The identity upgrade. This isn't about hustling harder. It's about becoming someone who does not recognize excuses as valid. Imagine the shift. You hear "I'm tired," but your body moves anyway. You hear "I don't have time," but you carve out 5 minutes. You hear "I'll start later," but you start now. Your brain learns, "I am the person who acts, no matter what the excuse says." That identity is unbreakable. From excuse to evidence. Every time you override an excuse, you stack evidence for discipline. And evidence compounds into certainty. And certainty produces wealth. Because wealth doesn't go to the person who never faced excuses, it goes to the person who killed them, daily, until they no longer existed. The real wealth mindset. Wealth isn't created by people with fewer excuses. It's created by people who refuse to let excuses live. And that's who you are becoming. Not someone who waits. Not someone who hesitates. Not someone who negotiates. You are the one who hears the excuse, laughs at it, and moves forward anyway. That's why your wealth is no longer a question of if, it's only a question of when. Wealth is not just money in the bank. It is a way of thinking, a lens through which you see the world, a discipline-driven mindset that automatically attracts resources, opportunities, and growth. Most people chase money without ever building the mental framework that sustains it. That's why even when they earn more, they lose it. Even when they win briefly, they drift back to scarcity. The foundation of wealth is not income. It's identity. And identity is shaped by the discipline you practice daily. The 80% treat wealth as luck. The majority think, "If I get the right job, I'll be rich. If the market swings in my favor, I'll be rich. If I win or stumble into the right opportunity, I'll be rich." Their entire financial future rests on external forces. That's why they stay poor, not in numbers, but in mindset. Because they treat wealth as luck, not as a disciplined outcome. The 20% live wealth before they see wealth. The minority do something radically different. They discipline themselves into wealth thinking long before the numbers appear. They manage a single dollar as if it were 1,000. They structure 1 hour as if it were a boardroom of investors. They finish one project as if it were a legacy. This is why opportunities seem to chase them, because they've already become the type of person wealth can trust. Napoleon Hill's wealth philosophy. Hill wrote, "Riches begin with a state of mind, with definiteness of purpose, with little or no hard work." Notice, not luck, not chance, not waiting. A state of mind. A disciplined focus. That state of mind is forged by your daily no-excuse actions. Every time you choose structure over chaos, you're literally programming your brain for wealth. Discipline as a wealth magnet. Think about it this way. Money flows to order. Opportunities flow to reliability. Partnerships flow to consistency. When you are disciplined, you signal to the world, "I am safe. I am ready. I am stable." And the world rewards stability with resources. Wealth doesn't chase chaos. Wealth chases discipline. The Wealth Lock Formula. Here's how you use discipline to lock in the wealth mindset. 1. Practice daily control over resources. Track every expense, not because of fear, but because of mastery. Show money it has a disciplined owner. 2. Translate discipline across domains. The way you train your body is the way you train your finances. The way you manage your time is the way you manage investments. Discipline is transferable, practice it everywhere. 3. Speak the language of abundance. Every time you override an excuse, say, I am proving wealth belongs to me. Words shape state. State shapes results. Macro-micro wealth conditioning. At the macro level, discipline gives you long-term certainty. You know where you're heading, and you stop panicking at short-term setbacks. At the micro level, discipline makes you handle today's tasks in a way that compounds tomorrow's fortune. The tiny things, logging one habit, honoring one time block, saving $1, become the roots of an oak tree others will later call overnight success. Identity shift, from seeker to source. Stop asking, how do I get wealth? Start declaring, I am the source wealth flows to. This is the shift from seeker to source. From chasing to attracting. From hoping to knowing. And it only happens when your life is disciplined enough to prove to yourself and to the world that you can handle what you're asking for. The real secret. Wealth is not something you earn once. It's something you become. And the way you become it is through relentless discipline, day after day, until money, opportunities, and success have no choice but to orbit around you. Most people treat failure as a signal to retreat. You've heard it, maybe it wasn't meant to be. I'll try something else. At least I learned. But here's the truth, failure is not a signal to stop. It's a test to see if you will continue without a plan B. Because without discipline, failure looks final. With discipline, failure becomes fuel. The 80% stop at setbacks. The majority see one rejection, one lost deal, one rough month, and they collapse. They scale back effort. They hide behind excuses. They tell themselves they'll pivot later. But the pivot is often just a polite word for quitting. This is why the 80% never see results. They stop digging 3 feet from gold because they left the back door open in their mind. The 20% use failure as proof. The disciplined few don't just survive failure, they exploit it. Every rejection makes them sharper in communication. Every lost dollar trains them to manage risk better. Every obstacle forces them to grow skills others avoid. Failure is their feedback loop. And because they don't have plan B, they turn failure into fertilizer for their future wealth. Napoleon Hill's reminder. Hill's classic warning echoes here. Most great people have attained their greatest success just one step beyond their greatest failure. The line between quitting and wealth is often razor thin. The difference is not talent. It's the decision to refuse retreat. The disciplined failure alchemy. Here's the formula. Failure plus discipline equals acceleration. Failure without discipline is just pain. Failure with discipline becomes leverage. Because every disciplined response after failure teaches you something the easy path never could. It teaches resilience. It teaches creative problem solving. It teaches emotional toughness. These are the traits money trusts. These are the traits opportunity seeks. The no plan B recovery protocol. When failure strikes, here's your framework. 1. Name it without shame. Write exactly what went wrong. Don't sugarcoat. Don't dramatize. Clarity kills fear. 2. Extract the lesson. Ask, what is this teaching me that success never could? Every failure has a hidden curriculum. Find it. 3. Recommit immediately. Don't wait a week to heal. Recommit that same day with a micro action. Prove to your nervous system you don't retreat. 4. Raise the standard. Each failure should increase, not decrease, your standards. Demand more precision. More focus. More discipline. From breakdown to breakthrough. Picture this. One person fails and runs. Their dream dies quietly. Another person fails and stays. Their dream sharpens, grows, strengthens. The difference is not luck. It's not conditions. It's not timing. It's this: one had plan B, the other didn't. The one with plan B escaped. The one without plan B endured and turned failure into the very foundation of wealth. The wealth discipline lens. When you embrace no plan B, failure no longer humiliates you, it humbles you. It trains you. It arms you with insights, scars, and strategies no book could ever teach. And once you survive enough of those storms with discipline, wealth has no choice but to trust you. Because you've proven you're not fragile. You're not temporary. You're permanent. Wealth isn't built in giant leaps. It's built in layers. Brick by brick. Choice by choice. Not dramatic explosions of success, but small wins stacked with ruthless discipline until they form an unstoppable wall of momentum. This is where most people get it wrong. They're addicted to the big break, the overnight miracle, the quantum leap. And because they're waiting for something massive, they ignore the small. But here's the truth: small victories are the seeds of massive wealth. The 80% ignore micro wins. Most people don't notice when they make progress. They dismiss it. They save $10 and think it doesn't matter. They wake up 1 hour earlier but tell themselves it's not enough. They complete one focused task and feel embarrassed that it's small. And because they dismiss the small, they never get to the big. They break their own momentum by undervaluing the very fuel of growth. The 20% protect their wins. The disciplined few treat every micro win as sacred. 1 page written is proof of consistency. $1 saved is proof of stewardship. 1 workout finished is proof of resilience. They don't measure by volume, they measure by identity. Each win is evidence. And evidence compounds. This is why their momentum becomes unstoppable, because they never let the chain break. Napoleon Hill's wisdom. Hill wrote, "Do not wait. The time will never be just right. Start where you stand, and work with whatever tools you may have at your command." That's the wealth discipline: start small, stay consistent, and stack relentlessly. Waiting for perfect conditions is how 80% die broke. Starting with what you have and compounding daily is how the 20% get rich. The momentum compounding formula. Here's the math of discipline. 1 win a day equals 365 wins a year. 5 wins a week equals 250 disciplined victories. 10 years of small wins equals mastery, wealth, and legacy. The numbers look small until you stack them. Then they become inevitable. The streak discipline method. Here's how to weaponize small wins. 1. Define your minimum standard. Pick a baseline you never miss. Not because it's impressive, but because it's permanent. 2. Log the chain. Track every win visually: calendar, notebook, board. Watch the chain grow. 3. Protect the streak. Never miss 2 in a row. 1 miss is a mistake. 2 is a pattern. Kill the pattern before it kills your wealth. Macro, micro, macro. At the macro level, you want wealth. At the micro level, you build small wins. Stacked together, the micro feeds the macro until wealth becomes inevitable. That's the cycle: discipline, micro win, identity compounding, macro wealth. Your wealth identity shift. You are no longer the person who waits for breakthroughs. You are the person who builds them. Slowly, steadily, daily. Your wealth is not in the future. It's in today's discipline. In the streak you refuse to break. In the evidence you stack when no one's watching. Because by the time the world notices, you'll already be living in the momentum they thought was magic. But you'll know it wasn't magic. It was discipline. Procrastination is Plan B in disguise. It's the illusion that you'll act tomorrow. The lie that time will be kinder later. The soft whisper that tells you to wait for clarity before you move. But here's the truth: if you don't move now, you probably won't move later. Because discipline weakens every time you delay. The 80% worship delay. The majority convince themselves they're being strategic. They say, "I'm just waiting for the right time. I need to plan this out perfectly first. Let me prepare a little more." But what they're really doing is feeding Plan B. They're buying comfort with the currency of lost opportunity. And lost opportunity never refunds. The 20% attack now. The disciplined few refuse delay. They move fast, even when they're unprepared. They strike while others hesitate. Why? Because they know clarity doesn't come before action. Clarity is created by action. They understand that motion breeds momentum. And momentum breeds wealth. Napoleon Hill's urgency code. Hill hammered this point repeatedly. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now. Not later. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Now. Because later is just another name for never. And the person who acts now always outruns the person who waits for perfect timing. The anti-procrastination protocol. Here's how to kill delay before it kills your wealth. 1. Count backwards from 5. When you feel hesitation, count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then move. Don't let thought expand. Action must outpace analysis. 2. Shrink the first step. Break the action into the smallest possible motion. Write one sentence. Make one call. Move $1. Small is fast. Fast beats delay. 3. Declare the identity. Say, "I am the person who moves immediately." Every repetition rewires your nervous system to treat hesitation as the enemy. From delay to discipline. Each time you procrastinate, you reinforce weakness. Each time you act immediately, you reinforce wealth. This is not about speed for speed's sake. It's about proving that you are the kind of person who doesn't need permission to start. That identity compounds faster than any investment. Macro-micro wealth action. At the macro level, no plan B means you live with urgency, not hesitation. At the micro level, it means you close the gap between thought and motion until they are the same. No delay. No debate. No drifting. Just discipline, stacked in real time, until your momentum becomes unstoppable. The real secret. Procrastination is expensive. Discipline is profitable. And every time you act now, you accelerate wealth into your hands. Because opportunities rarely wait. They reward those who move with speed and punish those who wait for perfect timing. From today, you don't wait. You don't stall. You don't delay. You move. Now. Wealth is not only a battle against your own excuses. It's a battle against the world's disbelief. When you decide to cut Plan B and live with no excuses, you will feel resistance not just from within, but from everyone around you. Friends will question you. Family will warn you. Strangers will laugh at you. And if you are not disciplined, their voices will become your Plan B. The 80% surrender to noise. Most people let the outside world dictate their inside world. A friend tells them they're crazy. They retreat. A family member warns them to play it safe. They slow down. A stranger mocks their vision. They feel shame and quit. They forget that the crowd has never built anything lasting. The crowd specializes in average. And average people defend their comfort by attacking your commitment. The 20% build in silence. The disciplined few understand this. You don't need applause to keep moving. They work in quiet hours no one sees. They move forward when no one cheers. They build in shadows until the results speak louder than arguments. They know wealth doesn't require permission. It requires persistence. And so they stay the course alone if necessary, because they trust discipline more than approval. Napoleon Hill's perspective. Hill wrote, "You are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul, because you have the power to control your thoughts. That means the outside world doesn't get a vote unless you let it. Your mind is the fortress. Discipline is the gatekeeper. When you protect your thoughts, you protect your wealth. The no-noise protocol. Here's how you shield yourself when doubt and criticism attack. 1. Filter the voices. Ask, has this person built what I want to build? If not, their opinion is irrelevant. 2. Anchor with proof. Every day, record your disciplined wins. When doubt comes, look back at evidence. Let results drown out ridicule. 3. Declare independence. Say, I move with or without support. This is your reminder that discipline doesn't need cheerleaders. Loneliness is the training ground. The path to wealth often feels lonely. Not because you are wrong, but because most people will never choose it. This loneliness is not punishment. It is proof. Proof that you are walking a rare path. Proof that you have chosen something greater than comfort. And if you can walk disciplined in silence, you will walk wealthy in abundance. From external noise to internal power. Every laugh, every doubt, every warning, they are fuel. They remind you why you burned the boats. They remind you why you refuse Plan B. They remind you that comfort never created greatness. So the next time someone questions your discipline, thank them silently. Then go build the evidence that will one day silence them forever. You've walked through the fire of excuses. You've seen how Plan B kills focus, how procrastination kills momentum, how comfort kills wealth. And now you stand on the other side with a choice. Keep the safety nets, or cut them forever. Live with backup plans, or live with discipline. Because here's the truth, wealth belongs to those who refuse escape. The core code. No Plan B, you succeed because there is no other option. No excuses, you move regardless of mood, pressure, or circumstance. Discipline daily, you stack small wins until momentum makes wealth inevitable. This is not theory. It's not hype. It's the law of compounding discipline. And it works every single time. Napoleon Hill's final reminder. Hill said, "A quitter never wins, and a winner never quits." It's not talent that wins. It's not luck. It's persistence, discipline, and the decision to never turn back. And you have now made that decision. Your new identity. From this moment, you are no longer the person who negotiates with excuses. You are no longer the person who hides behind backup plans. You are no longer the person who drifts when storms come. You are the one who moves. The one who persists. The one who finishes. And wealth is no longer a possibility. It's a certainty because your discipline makes it so. Closing interaction. Now it's your turn. Fire comment below. What's the Plan B you're ready to burn right now? Speech balloon, share your answer. You might inspire someone else to finally cut their excuses. If this message hit you hard, smash that like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone who's still holding on to a backup plan. Because the truth is simple. No Plan B. No excuses. Just discipline and the wealth will follow.